Grade 12 Economics, good afternoon. Please welcome Mr. Mhlongo. I'm here again today to take you on Microeconomics, which is our paper 2 content. Remember or be informed that Microeconomics is a part of our section A in paper 2, section B, which is question 2, also the part of question 4, as well as section C, which is our question 5 and essay. So please join me during the course of this lesson. Let's see what we can share with you in a form of our content. Surely it will benefit you. Enjoy the lesson as I'm starting. So these are the lesson objectives for our lesson today. So the lesson will improve your understanding in aspects of the perfect market. Number one, you will be reminded of the costs and revenues that were done last year in your grade 11 economics. The characteristics and the market structure for the perfect market will be given and will be discussed. And then also the price determination process under the perfect competition will be explained on how is the price determined. And then the difference between the market and the individual firm will be explained to you so that we get a clear understanding in case you come across the question to give the difference between the two. Also, 3 equilibrium positions for the perfect competitive firm will be discussed in this lesson. The shutdown point, as well as the supply curve, will be discussed in the lesson. The Competition Policy Act of South Africa, its objectives, its benefits, as well as the failure and the success will also be discussed. It is believed that you already know the following as for the perfect market, since we have been doing it. Even last year in grade 11, we covered the part of the perfect market. You know costs and revenues that are used to determine profits and losses. You know market structures or the market structure for the perfect market. You also know types of market that exist within the market topic as a whole. And then these are the basic concepts or terminologies that will assist you to go with me and understand this lesson. Firstly, the market. We know the market is the place or destination where buyers and sellers meet to exchange goods and services. The perfect market. This is the market that exists when there are many sellers which exist with none of them, neither producers, having the influence over the price. So it exists when there are many sellers that exist within the market and none of them can influence the price. Imperfect market. This is the market that prevails or that occur if the perfect market conditions are not met. Then we regard that one as an imperfect market. The price taker. In this case, we talk about an individual firm that must accept the price or that must accept the prevailing price in the market, lacking what we call the market share or dominance in order to influence the market price on its own. So the price taker is the firm that is forced, or it's a must for it to simply take the price that has been determined by whom? By the market forces or by the industry using market forces, demand and supply. That firm does not have any influence over the price, but it takes the price that has been given by the industry or the market. That one is regarded as a price taker. Homogeneous products. In this case, we refer to products or goods that are similar or that are the same. They are identical. These goods are the same in appearance. They look the same. They have the same quality. And even consumers cannot seem to see any actual difference between these kinds of the products. So we call them homogeneous products. They are similar, They are identical. At the same time, they satisfy the same utility as they are known as perfect substitutes for each other. Those are the homogeneous products. We continue with the terminology. The short run. This is the very short period of time at which only variable factors of production can change while at least one factor is fixed. So in simple terms, it's a short period of time at which one input is fixed. And then the opposite one, which is the long run. This is a very long period of time at which all inputs are flexible, meaning all inputs or all factors of production are flexible to change or they can change. The profit maximization. This one occurs when an individual firm's marginal costs are equal to the firm's marginal revenues. We say in that condition, the firm maximizes its profit. Economic loss. This is the market condition that prevails when average cost of doing the business exceed average revenues, or what we call the total cost exceed total revenue, or total cost are greater than total revenues. We call that economic loss. And then economic profit or supernormal profit. This is the market condition that prevails when the average revenues received or earned in the business exceed or are greater than what we call average cost, or the total revenues earned or received are greater than or are more than the total cost of doing the business. That one is known as the economic profit or supernormal profit. We continue with the terminology. The normal profit. This is the market condition that prevails when the average cost of doing the business are equal to the average revenues, or the total cost of doing the business are equal to total revenues. And then we call this what? The normal profit or the break-even. Remember, these are the minimum earnings that prevent the firm from leaving the market. The Competition Commission. This is known as an institute that investigates restrictive practices by businesses or the abuse of dominant positions and measures in order to achieve equity in South African economy. It mainly investigates the anti-competitive strategies or behavior or restrictive practices or collusive behavior that can be undertaken by businesses as they try to prevent competition at the expense of consumers. The Competition Tribunal is an institute that investigates restrictive practices by businesses, abuse of dominant position and power, including measures in order to achieve equity in South African economy. Remember, the two are having their own different responsibility that will be discussed. The Competition Appeals Court. This one is known as an institution whose main function is to review orders made by the Competition Tribunal and amend or confirm these orders. It will be discussed again in the content. And then this is the structure of our lesson. The characteristics of the perfect market and the market structure. This lesson or this main first lesson on this is mainly focusing on the characteristics as well as the market structure. So let's go. The perfect market. Remember we said perfect market is the market structure that exists when there are many sellers. The main point here is there are many sellers who sell or that produce homogeneous product or similar product within the market. So that becomes a perfect market, even though a depth discussion is still to be given so that it can be clear. So there are many sellers that exist, and these sellers are selling homogeneous products, and none of them have an influence over the price, meaning the price is determined by market forces, demand and supply within the industry. The most crucial component that make the perfect market include the following. There is a high competition in there. There is also a freedom of entry and exit, meaning new firms are free to enter the market and existing firms are free to leave the market as they want. There is the maximum consumer choice. That means consumers are free to buy the product from any supplier that is available within the market. And then there is also a perfect or a complete information, meaning consumers and producers are having enough information or the complete information about the market condition, also about the product that are available, also including the asking prices or selling prices that are used to sell the product within the market. So consumers are having access to proper information. Also, new competitors are having access to proper information. That makes the perfect competition. And then none of producers have a power to influence the price. As I said before, the price is determined by market forces, demand and supply. So the accessible market entry result to high competition within this kind of the market, the freedom of choice, consumers are free to buy from whomever supplier within the market, and then there are lower prices that prevail because of there is a high output level that's available within the market. That simply means consumers cannot simply be exploited onto higher prices under perfect market because there is a high competition that allows them to choose from any supplier that is existing. So examples of the perfect market, we count the likes of the foreign exchange market, we count the likes of agricultural produces, and we count the likes of Johannesburg Stock Exchange, but has been changed to Johannesburg Security Exchange. These are the basic examples of perfect markets. If the question in the examination can come and say, list or mention any two examples of a perfect market, you can mention two of these three. So the following are the characteristics of the perfect market. How can we easily see or identify the firm that competes within the perfect market condition? So each firm that is existing under the perfect market produces or supplies homogeneous products. Remember the following: for the product to be homogeneous, it should look the same, having the same quality, being the perfect substitute for each other, satisfying the same utility. That particular product or those goods are known as homogeneous or similar or identical products. So the nature of products offered for sale are identical or similar with no obvious differences in quality and appearances. It's not easy to simply separate them, that they just look the same, they taste the same, they satisfy the same utility, they easily replace one another. Hence, we say they are homogeneous. So homogeneous products are perfect substitutes for each other. They can simply or easily replace one another as they satisfy the same utility. And then the product similarity has no influence on buyers as they choose to buy from different suppliers in the market. So since these goods are the same, consumers can buy from any supplier that is available within the market because these goods are simply the same. Number two, we say here we have many buyers and sellers. Under this kind of the market, there are many buyers and there are many sellers, but we focus mostly on sellers because buyers are always many in the market. So in this kind of the market, there are so many sellers that exist to the point that any new firm that is willing to enter the market and compete is simply free to enter the market and compete because the market is too accessible to new entrants or new rivalry firms. Also, those firms that are willing to leave the market after they have maximized their profits are free to leave the market, meaning there are no barriers that exist to prohibit the entry of new businesses within the market. So the market is accessible to new entrants, which increase the number of suppliers. Due to the fact that the market is too easily accessible, then suppliers will always be many in the market. And then each individual producer only supply the smaller part or the smaller portion of the total market output. So that means each and every existing firm is producing its small portion that constitute the total output production or product for what? For the industry or for the market. Each firm is having its own product that are produced. And then those products can be counted to give us the total size of output produced by the whole market. Remember, there is a difference between the individual firm as well as the industry or the market that will be discussed. A producer will be able to control only utilization of factors of production. and the extent of his production with no control over the price. So in this case, each producer can mainly control or influence his or her factors of production and the output side he or she can produce, but cannot control the price because the price is determined by market forces, demand and supply. So all perfect market individual firms are known as price takers. None of them can influence the price. As much as there are so many in there, none of them can influence the price. And as much as firms are entering the market, the competition will always increase. And existing firms are losing their profits because of high competition. At the same time, as much as firms are increasing within the market or perfect market, what happens? This will simply lead to, number one, profits will be reduced or they will be lower because consumers now will be spreading to various firms that are available in the market. At the same time, what will happen? The market share will be lost, meaning number of consumers that each firm is possessing or having they might decrease because they shift and go to new firms that are coming in with new promotions and new advertising techniques. So this simply leads to the perfect market being so good and being so perfect, having consumers floating between firms that are supplying the similar product. So we say there's a large output side, meaning the output produced, the quantity of goods produced within the kind of the market is too high or is too large. What causes that? That is because there are so many firms that are existing to produce the same products. That will lead to the large output size because remember, I've just told you or I've just said, each firm is producing its own output that allows it to maximize its profits. Therefore, collectively, the sum of all of these outputs produced by individual firms will give us the sum of output size for the industry or the market. So large number of sellers result to high output size within the market. Since there are so many sellers that are existing, there will always be more output size within the market. This allows consumers to a freedom of choice as they can buy from whomever supplier in the market. So they buy from whoever that they prefer. No one can restrict them or stop them to buy from the one that they prefer. So they have what you call a freedom of choice. They can buy from any supplier that's available in the market because remember, these suppliers are supplying the same product. Also, inefficiencies and shortages do not easily occur in this kind of the market because of large number of businesses that exist to supply these products. So it's very much difficult for consumers to find themselves without the product within this kind of the market because if firm 1 does not have the product, firm 2 might be having the product. So due to the fact that there's a perfect competition, there are so many firms that are existing with the large output, consumers are always having an access to the product they want because they can choose to buy from any. If one firm does not have the product, one firm is having the product, so it's easy for them. That's why we say inefficiencies and shortages do not easily occur. Also, the firm or individual firm here is the price taker. No firm under the perfect market or no individual firm under the perfect market can influence the price. The selling price is determined by market forces or by the interaction of market forces, demand and supply within the market or within the industry. The firm is regarded as a price taker. It takes the price that has been set by the industry. Then you ask yourself, what happens if one firm under perfect market decides to sell the product above the market price? That will simply lead to the firm losing its consumers or losing the market share. Remember, consumers are well informed about the market conditions. They even know how much is the selling price of the particular product. Therefore, if one firm decides to sell above the market price, the firm will be losing its consumers or market share to other competitors that are still selling on the market price, which is lower. The second question, what happens if one firm decides to sell the product below the market price? Remember, that is dangerous. The firm can have more consumers because they will be attracted due to the lower price. However, as the firm sells below the market price, it will not be able to maximize its profit or reach its profit margins because it's selling below the market price. So prices are determined by interaction of market forces, which is the demand and supply. That simply means the firm does not set any price, but the industry or the market determines the price. No individual firm has an influence or the control over the price. Hence, we say the firm is a price taker. All perfect commodity firms accept the prevailing price within the market. So any price that is given by the market is taken by firms. So each and every firm that exists within this kind of the market will always accept the prevailing price. No firm can set its own price because the firm is regarded as a price taker. As a result, no firm can sell the product above or below the market price. Then I've answered the question to say what happens if the firm does so. High prices might result to a loss of market share, while lower prices can affect the profit. So firm can have less profit if ever it's selling below the market price. There is no collusion. Remember, collusion occurs when two or more firms within the same industry get together to do what we call the price fixing. They get together to manipulate the price at the expense of consumers, or manipulate production techniques, or restrict the output at the expense of consumers. The collusion can occur in a form of cartels. It can occur in a form of explicit collusion, where there is a formal agreement between firms to manipulate or fix the price of production techniques. Or it occurs in a form of implicit collusion or hidden collusion. That occurs when one firm decides to make a certain decision on the price of production and other firms copy that particular decision or strategy without any formal agreement or discussion. We call that what? An implicit collusion. So buyers and sellers act independently from one another or from each other. So they don't meet and discuss anything based on market conditions. But these sellers will always act independently based on the manner at which they want to maximize profits within the economy or within the market. Only the price may influence the actions of buyers and sellers. Just the price will always influence the actions, especially of sellers. Also, buyers are influenced by what we call the price. And then cartels and price fixing agreements or arrangements do not occur because only market can determine the price. Firms cannot meet and discuss. Firms cannot form measures in order to restrict the competition within the economy or within the market. And then collusion means that sellers and buyers enter into an agreement, arrangement, or understanding to limit competition in order to gain the market power so they can influence the price. Know the following: if ever firms decide to collude, if firms collude, that means maybe there were 3 firms or 4 firms producing the same product. They decide to merge and make decisions together or joint decisions. That will lead to consumers deprived of having more choices. What causes that? If firms are competing openly, that allows consumers to have the freedom of choice. But if firms are joint in decision making, they tend to have common decisions that might affect the consumer choice. So that simply restricts consumer choice and also affect the competition, also exploit consumers onto buying the product at the higher price. That is the effect of collusion. There are no barriers to entry. So any firm that wants to enter the market can enter the market without any restrictions. And any firm that is willing to leave the market after maximizing its profits, it can leave the market. Remember, under perfect market, firms are always attracted to enter if existing firms are enjoying supernormal profits. Once they discover that they are making economic losses, they exit or leave the market. So there are no barriers to entry or regulations that can prohibit the entry of new businesses within this kind of the market. New firms are free to enter, existing firms are free to leave the market. Also, in this kind of the market, as much as we say there are no barriers to entry, these barriers to entry include the likes of high setup cost or high capital. Under perfect market, the market does not require high capital for the firm to enter the market. Also, we call that the startup cost. Also, there is no much of aggressive advertising as it occurs in other markets. And also, in this kind of the market, we don't have what we call exclusive rights or patents that allow firms to be the only producers of a particular product. Also, the economic of scale in this kind does not become a barrier to entry. So there are no barriers to entry. Firms are free to enter or leave the market. So there is the freedom of entry and exit, meaning firms are free to enter the market as they are new, and then existing firms are free to leave the market. Like it's being said here, new firms are free to enter the market while attracted by profit that are made by existing firms, while existing firms are free to leave the market after having enjoyed profits within the market. The market is freely accessible with no barriers that prohibit the entry of new competitors. So there are no restrictions that are predetermined to prohibit the entry of new businesses. So barriers to entry such as high startup cost of capital, aggressive advertising, patents and economies of scale do not exist under the perfect market. They don't exist to prohibit or prevent the entry of new businesses. So know the effect of this kind of characteristic. If there are no barriers to entry, that simply means as new firms enter the market, existing firms might find themselves not enjoying supernormal profits anymore. But that will be discussed. Why? As the number of firms increases in the market, consumers will be spread across all of those firms, and existing firms might lose consumers or market share to new entrants. As they lose their consumers, they might find themselves making what you call the normal profit or economic loss, while new firms in the short run, as they enter the market, are enjoying supernormal profits. There is a high competition that exists within this kind of the market. The market is not regulated. Buyers buy what they want, wherever they want, at their chosen quantity and at their chosen time. So no one simply restricts them on what to do. Businesses act freely on their own will. They are not regulated. Therefore, we say there is a high competition that is existing here. The government does not intervene to regulate the market, especially on what to produce, how to produce, when to produce, where and for whom to produce. Firms decide on their own on what to produce, how and for whom. I mean, who is their target market? So they decide even on their output side that they want to supply or to produce within their own firms and supply in the market. So the market is really open. There's a high competition without any regulation. There is a complete information or the perfect information. Let me tell you about the importance of having information about the market. As a consumer, if you have the perfect or complete information about the market condition, this allows you to make the proper and informed decisions. If you know the selling price of the product, you cannot be exploited. If you know where you can find the product, you cannot waste your resources going all out looking for the product. If you know ingredients and how the product is made, you will always buy being informed and knowing exactly that the product suits your style and your standard. So the availability of information and the perfect or complete information is very important for you as a consumer to make proper decisions and avoid inefficient use of your financial resources. There are some instances whereby markets are having what we call the asymmetric information, the differing information. One consumer goes there and finds a particular information, while the producer is having another information that is not the same or that is conflicting to the one that the consumer is having. We call that an asymmetric information. So that results to the consumer making even wrong decisions. So under this kind of the market, the information about the products, about the market condition is simply perfect and complete. Both consumers and producers are fully aware of all market conditions that prevail. So both buyers and sellers in the market have complete and accurate information about the prevailing market conditions. None of them is robbed. They have the perfect or complete information. They all know what quality of goods are available in the market, what is the selling price of those goods and services, and how are these goods produced. Also, where can they be found? So the information is so open and so perfect for both consumers and producers. This allows consumers not to make wrong decisions as they demand the product. New sellers have access to the market information easily so that they can simply compete with what? With existing firms. That allows them to, and remember, information can become a barrier to entry for the business. So if information is not available, New firms can find it difficult to enter the market because they don't have information about their competitors and about the market condition. But with enough information or perfect information available, new firms can simply enter the market because they know everything about the prevailing market conditions. All buyers know what are the characteristics of the producers, and then how much they should be paying and where they can find the product. They simply know they have that particular information. So it makes it easy for them to avoid wasting their financial resources as they want to buy the product. So also we can add, there is no government intervention or regulation, meaning government does not intervene in the market and determine what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. How much should be the selling price? No, the government does not intervene. That's why we say the market simply regulates itself. Government does not regulate the market. So what are the benefits of the perfect market? This can be the higher order question, especially it can be your 8 marks question in your 2.5 or 4.5. It can also be your additional part in your essay. So let's see. How do perfect markets become an incentive into the economy and social welfare? Meaning, how can perfect markets benefit the economy? So the following are the possible responses that you can mention. So the perfect market results to variety of choices. Remember, there is a very high competition in the market, which creates variety of choices for consumers. If a consumer is having much choices, the consumer is well improved, the living standard is well improved, because the consumer can buy from any supplier. It's not restricted to demand from one supplier, like it happens in South Africa, as we are only having one option to demand electricity from Eskom. That means we are not improved on that one. The level of development in that case is not at the higher level because we only have one supplier. But under the perfect market, there are so many suppliers of the homogeneous product. So this results to a variety of choices available for consumers. Also, there is a perfect information. So since consumers are having access to the complete or the perfect information, this prevents inefficiency from happening or from occurring within the market because consumers now cannot waste their financial resources by demanding goods that do not suit their style and their standard. They will demand the product because they are well informed. It does suit their standard. So it prevents inefficient use of resources. The perfect market condition protects consumers from being exploited to higher prices. Remember, consumers can be exploited to higher prices. Producers can happen to sell the product above the market price if consumers are not well informed about the selling price or the market price. But because here, consumers are well informed about the selling price or market price, then they cannot easily be exploited on to paying higher prices for those particular goods that are provided under the perfect market. Also, there cannot be what we call the price discrimination, whereby the firm is selling the same product at different consumers, the same quantity at different prices. That does not occur because consumers are well informed about all market conditions, even the selling price. Perfect competition promotes what we call innovation and the quality. Firms tend to be very much innovative. They quickly adapt to the latest technology because they are competing. Any new technological trend that comes in, firms will always adapt in there because they know they are facing a huge competition. Also, the quality of goods. No firm can try to produce deficient goods or poor quality goods because they simply know that other competitors are providing the good quality. So they compete even on the quality of products. Therefore, there will always be higher level of innovation as well as good quality of goods provided. Due to the fact that there is a higher competition, there are lower prices that prevail under this kind of the market. And this improves what we call the social gain. Consumers are always benefiting because these goods which are produced in this kind of the market, they can easily be for any kind of the consumer. They are not for chosen consumers that maybe are enjoying only luxury. All consumers, maybe all range of consumers can afford the particular product. So this improves social welfare and social gain. That is because prices are lower, prices are more affordable. Consumers can simply buy the product. That improve social welfare and living standards for the society. And large market output positively contribute to the GDP of the country and the economic growth. So since there's a high competition in this kind of the market, automatically there's a large output size. Firms are very much productive, meaning they produce more goods and services. Therefore, what will happen? There will be more output available in the economy, which increases the gross value added for the economy and also increases what we call the GDP or the gross domestic product for the economy. That will lead to higher economic growth in the country because there is much productivity or production available in the economy. So also, higher competition create job opportunities. If ever there is a high competition, there are more firms that are entering the market to compete. Those firms, as they enter the market, they create job opportunities for the unemployed that simply improve economic growth and social well-being. Less government interference has a tendency of attracting investors to invest in the economy. If ever in the economy there is less government intervention, even foreign direct investors are always attracted to come and invest in the country because government does not very much regulate the market. So less government interference or intervention increases market entry and the level of investments in the economy. New firms are always attracted to enter. Even foreign direct investments are always attracted to enter the market and invest due to the fact that the government does not intervene or interfere to regulate the market. So this is the perfect market structure. Remember, it's not exactly the same as characteristics. In this case, you don't mention the whole characteristic, but you simply say, number one, number of sellers. Then you start explaining there are many sellers that exist within the perfect competitive market. Nature of products produced. Products are homogeneous, identical, or similar. Price determination. Who determines the price? The price is determined by market forces in the industry, and then the firm is known as a price taker. How is the individual firm's demand curve? Each individual firm is represented by the horizontal demand curve. And then output size. Is it large or lower? There is the large output size that is available. Entry and exit. There is the freedom of entry and exit within this kind of the market, meaning there are no barriers to entry or restrictions that prohibit the entry of new businesses. Availability of information. Information is so complete and so perfect to the point that both consumers and producers have an adequate information about market conditions. The profits. Firms enjoy supernormal profit in the short run and normal profits in the long run as new firms keep on entering the market, which lead to existing firms losing their consumers or market share to new entrants. Market regulation. The market is not regulated by the government. Government does not interfere or intervene to determine what to produce, how to produce, and for whom, also how much would be the selling price. Now we move to the next one, which is the industry and the individual firm. So we look at the difference between the industry and the individual firm. How does it differ? Because there is a difference between the two. Remember, we have an industry. Within the industry, there are some small firms that are existing within the industry. So here we want to draw the line. That is very much bold for you as the line to be able to see or to know the difference between the individual firm and the industry under the perfect market. The industry is so big and regulates all firms that are existing. Remember, the industry is also known as the market. Within that particular industry, there are firms that are existing to produce similar products. So all regulations that firms are possessing are informed or given by the industry itself. There you go, there is the industry. It's a part of the umbrella, the big umbrella in there. And then down there, we have individual firms that is existing. So there are so many firms that are in there within this kind of the industry. So it can be a firm. So many firms can exist in here to produce the similar products in this kind of the market, which is the perfect market. So there are many firms that are within the industry. So there we say we have this individual firm that exists. So we will draw the line between the industry or market as well as the individual firm. So we spoke about the short run and the long run. So the difference between the two, you can come across the question in the exam asking you, briefly discuss the difference or distinguish between short run and the long run. So we simply say short run is a short period of time at which at least two inputs are fixed. In there, we can talk of the capital and length. And then only variable factors of production are flexible to change. Only variable, only those that can change. And then if we talk of the long run, we talk about the period of time that is too long, whereby all inputs are flexible. If we talk of inputs, we talk about factors of production, remember. So the period is too long for all factors of production to change. So they can change because the period is too long. We call that what? The long run. New firms can enter the market while existing firms can exit the market. That is the long run. And then as we determine the industry and the market giving the difference, we deal with what we call cost and revenues for doing the business. So these are the costs that we use to determine either the business is making a profit or a loss, or if the business should shut down or it is making the normal profit. We have a variable cost. These are the costs that change with the output. So variable cost can always change with the output. As the firm produces more of particular product, a variable cost will increase. As the firm produces less of the particular product, the variable cost will decrease. We talk about the likes of the cost of electricity and the cost of water. They always change with the output. Those are the variable costs. We talk about the fixed cost. These are costs that do not change with the output. They remain constant for the given period of time. For instance, if the firm is producing more of the particular product, the fixed costs remain constant or remain the same. If the firm does not produce at all on the day or on the month, the fixed costs remain the same. It doesn't change. We talk about, for instance, the rent or rental amount. If ever the firm is renting a certain area, having signed the clause for maybe for 12 months, if the firm doesn't produce on a particular month, the firm will keep on paying the rent at the same or at the fixed amount. Average cost. This is the cost per unit produced. Each and every unit that has been produced, it is having its own cost. We call this the average cost. So there's a formula for that one. We say AC equal to total cost over quantity equals to AC equal to TC over Q or over output. The marginal cost. We talk, in this case, we refer to the cost that incur after producing an extra additional unit. Maybe you have produced 5 units and then you add number 6. Then you can be able to calculate the marginal cost, because to calculate the marginal cost, we say what you call the change in what you call the change in the quantity over the change in price. So in this case, an extra additional unit that has been produced will give us what we call the marginal cost. We continue with the cost, the total cost. This is known as the sum of variable cost and the fixed cost. Put them together, get what we call the total cost or the TC. Average variable cost, the variable cost divided by the total output. AVC equal to VC over Q, and then average fixed cost, we say the fixed cost over the output, meaning AFC equals to FC over Q. And then average total cost, that is the total cost divided by the output or the quantity, so is TC over Q. And then we have revenues, which is the income for the business. Remember, costs are the expenses for the business. So this is the income earned by the business after sale. Average revenues. These refer to revenues or income earned per individual unit or user. So in this case, we say AR equals to TR over Q. And then marginal revenue. Revenues received after selling one extra additional unit, which means MR equals to TR over Q. And then total revenues equals to the total income received from the sale of goods and services. Then we say TR equals to the price times quantity. Those are the costs and revenues that we use to determine if the firm is making a profit or a loss, or if the firm should shut down, or if the firm is making the normal profit. So now let's talk about the industry. What is meant by the industry? What is the industry? How does the industry differ from the firm? How does the industry or the market differ from the individual firm under the perfect market? So an industry consists of all firms that produce the similar or homogeneous product. That is known as the industry. It consists of all firms that are producing the particular product which is similar among them all. We call that the industry. And then the total output for the industry is the sum of all same output produced by different individual firms. So if one firm is producing 20 items, another firm is producing 10,000, another firm is producing 1 million, we add the whole of that output and put it together, it will give us the output for the whole industry or for the whole market. While each firm is having its own small portion or output that it produces in order to maximize its profits. Industries differ in number of firms. Some are having many firms, while some are having less firms. The number of firms in an industry will influence possible market share. Each individual firm has the power to influence the price. So in this case, remember, in the perfect market, no firm can influence the price. But generally, as we talk about the industry, if there are so many firms that are existing, there will be no dominant firms, because these consumers that they have are shared in between, or the market share is shared in between. So no firm would be having a dominant position or the dominant power to influence the price under the perfect market, due to the fact that there are so many sellers, there are so many individual firms that are existing within the same industry as they produce the similar or the same product. The fewer firms are in the industry, the larger the market power they have. So if firms are very few in the market, they will be having more market power. There will be even dominant firms in there, because there are very few firms that are existing in that particular industry. But if there are many, there will be less chances of having dominant position or dominant powers over market share or consumers, or even having the influence over the selling prices. The individual firm is the price taker. So each firm that is existing under the industry takes the price that has been determined by the industry. No firm can influence the price, since the price is determined by the industry or the market through the interaction of market forces, demand and supply. The firm, now we are moving from the industry. We move to the firm. The firm can decide to sell at any quantity of products at the given market price. It is given the price by the market or industry. Then the firm just needs to decide how much product should be, how much of product should be sold. So for the firm to maximize its profits, it decides on its own. This means that the demand curve for individual firm is horizontal. So if the firm is a price taker, it's taking the price from the industry. As the industry sets the price, the firm takes the price. Therefore, that will lead to the demand curve being horizontal. The perfect information makes it impossible for individual firm to charge a price above the market price or selling price, because consumers are fully aware and informed about the selling price and all prevailing market conditions. So if ever the firm decides to sell above the market price, consumers will go and buy from alternating firms or other competitors that are offering the similar product within the same market. The individual producer also will not charge the price that is lower than the market price, because it would not be rational, and he or she will not be able to maximize profits, or profit margins cannot be reached if ever the firm is selling below the market price. Those goods will be cheap, there will be more consumers. However, that can lead to the firm failing to maximize the profit or reaching its profit margins. So now we illustrate the graph showing the price determination. That is the price on our vertical axis. It's a quantity or the output on our horizontal axis. The industry supply curve is upward sloping. There you see supply. And then the industry demand curve is downward sloping. There you see the demand curve in there. And then we connect our equilibrium. We connect the output and the quantity as well as the equilibrium. The price is P, and then the quantity is Q, and then that is our equilibrium. So this is the industry determining the price over market forces, demand and supply. The demand curve for the industry is downward sloping. You can see it's sloping down from higher to lower. And the supply curve for the industry is upward sloping from lower to high. Then whenever demand and supply meet, they determine the equilibrium, which is E. Then the EP is the profit maximization price, and the EQ is the profit maximization quantity or output. So this is known as the industry or the market. So the industry is represented by the downward sloping demand curve. Like I've said, the demand curve for the industry represents all existing firms. This demand curve that is sloping down is for all existing firms that produce the same product. And then the market mechanism determines the price, which is P, through interaction of market forces, which is the demand and supply. All firms within the industry are entitled to take the market price determined by the industry, meaning if the price is P, the firm will be selling at P. If the price is 180, the firm will be selling at 180. Now we are moving to the next slide. So as for the examination guidelines, the question appears like this. Individual businesses and industry. Distinguish between individual business and the industry. Use graph to explain the derivation of the demand curve for the individual businesses. So this is what we are doing now. We are going straight to the individual business or individual firm and the industry together. So you will come across the graph here indicating that the firm or individual firm is the price taker. Then the industry comes first. The same graph that we illustrated on the previous slide comes back. Our supply upward sloping and then demand being downward sloping. Then we connect our equilibrium and the quantity. That supply, that is the demand, and then that is our equilibrium. Having the price being 90 rand, let's see what will happen if we talk straight to the individual firm now. Then that vertical line indicates what we call individual firm, and horizontal. That is our demand curve. The quantity, our price is 90 rand. So you can see the firm have taken the price. The market determined the price at 90 rand at the market forces, and then the firm have just taken the 90 rand as the price. Hence, we say the firm is the price taker. That is the demand curve. This is known as the individual firm. Then the firm is known as the price taker because the firm does not determine any price, but the price is determined by market forces, demand, and supply. Then you can see this connection or this arrow indicate that as the price is being determined by market forces here, that 90 rand is also taken by the industry exactly as it 90 rand. Hence, we say the firm is a price taker. It cannot influence the price. This is how the demand curve for the perfect competitive firm is derived. This is how the price is determined within the industry. Then the firm takes the price as it is. And then we explain the graph, the same graph that were there. The industry determines the price, which is 90 rand, through market forces, demand, and supply. Individual firm takes the price, which is 90 rand. You can see that 90 rand being taken. The demand curve for the market or the industry is downward sloping, meaning there is our demand curve sloping down. And it is negative. While the demand curve for the individual firm is horizontal. There you see our demand curve is horizontal, indicating that the firm is the price taker from the market. Both supply curves for industry and individual firm are upward sloping. You can see the supply curve being upward sloping. Also, the one for what we call individual firm is upward sloping. It will be indicated. It is the upward sloping part of the marginal cost that will be indicated as we go on with the lesson. The individual firm can produce at any output at the given price, which is 90 rand. Any output can be produced, but only if it's selling at the 90 rand because the firm is taking the price determined by the industry. So how does the change in the market price affect the equilibrium position for the individual firm? We are answering the question. So now we are looking at if ever the industry or the market determine the higher price, how will that affect what you call the individual firm? The same graph will come back, but there will be a slight difference that you will see, or a slight change on the new demand curve. And then we are drawing now our individual firm demand curve. And then something new comes in. Our marginal cost comes in now to determine the profit, to determine equilibrium position. So we normally say at the point of interaction where MC, marginal cost, equal to MR, we call that the profit maximization point. That is point E in there. That's where the firm can maximize the profit. We call that one the equilibrium. And then let's see new changes. The demand curve, the demand increases, which shift the demand curve to the right. Then it increases. There we connect again. There will be a new price determined in there. The price is now 150 at the quantity of Q1. That is our D1. And then there's a new equilibrium, which is E1. And then what will happen? The firm have to take the price again as it is. So the firm is taking 150 as it is from the firm from the industry because the firm is the price taker. Therefore, there we see AR1 equal to MR1 equals to D1, meaning these are our new points. So the demand curve for the firm shift upward so that it indicates that the price for the firm has increased. So it takes the price that has been determined by the firm again. There we see the output, Q1, and then we have the new equilibrium there, which is our E1. Meaning the equilibrium position under the perfect commutative firm does not remain constant like in the imperfect market. It changes. As the market determines the new price, the equilibrium position for the individual firm will change. So the question can come and say, maybe distinguish between equilibrium position for the perfect markets and imperfect markets. You know, under imperfect market, it remains fixed, but under perfect market, it changes. As the new, what you call the price is determined by the market or the industry, the firm will be taking the price that will change equilibrium position from E to E1. So the change in the market price changes the price taken by the individual firm. If ever the market price is changing, the firm will have to take the price or the new price which has been determined by the industry. And then as the market price increases from 90 to 150, the price taken by individual firm also changes to 150 from 90. This changes the individual firm's equilibrium position from E to E1. You have seen that the position have changed from E to E1, indicating that the price have increased from the market, then the firm have to take the price as it is. This implies that the equilibrium position for the perfect commutative firm is flexible with the market price. It changes as the market price change. It is not fixed as in the imperfect market. Like I've said, it will be discussed again in the lesson for the imperfect market. So equilibrium positions for the perfect commutative firms. We have economic profit, economic loss, and the normal profit. So here we explain those conditions. Remember, it's an essay here. According to the examination guideline, it can say, discuss in detail various equilibrium position with the aid of graphs under the perfect market. That's when you will be discussing economic profit, economic loss, and the normal profit. You must be able to draw the graph, explain conditions for a profit or loss or normal profit, and then be able to interpret your graph. So economic loss condition, if ever the firm is making economic loss prevails when revenues earned are lower than what we call the cost that incurred in the production process of the business. And then average cost curve turns above what we call average revenues. And then average cost or total cost are greater than average revenue or total revenues. That means AC is greater than AR or TC is greater than TR. Then the firm will be making economic loss. The economic loss condition indicates that less revenues are earned after sales as compared to the cost incurred during the production process. That means in this kind of the business received less income while it spent more money to produce that particular product. That becomes economic loss for the business. So how do we calculate the profit or a loss? We say profit equals to average revenues minus average cost times the quantity, or we say profit equals to, open the bracket, average revenue times quantity, close the bracket, then you minus, open the bracket, average cost times quantity, you close the bracket. Then that will give you what we call the total revenues and the total cost. Then you will be able to substitute and get your profit or a loss. It can be profit equals to TR or total revenue minus the total cost. Remember, to calculate the total revenue, we simply say price times quantity. Then this is the graph that indicates economic loss. So that is our what we call cost and revenues, and then we have the output or the quantity this side. And then what next? We have our demand curve, which is AR equals to MR equals to D, because it simply means along this demand curve, average revenue and marginal revenue are equal to the price and the demand in this condition. And then the price is 30 Rand or the selling price. Then we connect in there. There is our marginal cost. That is AC, and then that is MC. That is the shaded area. That box indicates economic loss. Why are we saying this is the economic loss? In this condition, the business is not making a profit, it's making economic loss because the cost of doing the business are higher than revenues received in the business. Look at this. How much are our revenues? These are our revenues. Ne? So this means our revenues are equals to 30. All our revenues are along here. They are equal to 30. Then pay at the cost. Our AC, where does it turn? It turns above our revenues. As our revenues are equal to 30, our costs are equal to 50. Meaning, we have spent 50 Rand to produce, but what did we receive at the end? We received 30 Rand. Then there's a shortage in there. There's a deficit in there. So we are making a loss as a business in that case because we spent more money to produce, but we received less revenues after sales. Therefore, we call this one what we call an economic loss because our average cost curve is turning above average revenues. Our average revenues are here, but our costs are up there. So they are more than, costs are more than revenues, or average costs are greater than average revenues, or total costs are more than total revenues. That is our economic loss. So that E indicates the profit maximization point where MC equals to MR. You can see MC goes down there as the Nike shape or J shape, and then at this point here, we have our MR. So they are all equal here. We call this one the profit maximization point. And then we explain the graph. The same graph comes in, and then explanation. Point E is the profit maximization point where MR equals to MC. That is the point we are talking about. The firm makes economic loss because AC is greater than AR, meaning average cost is more than average revenue. There is our average cost being 50 Rand and our average revenue equals to 30 Rand. Then the firm is making economic loss. Shaded area indicates economic loss. This area that is shaded in red indicates that the firm is making economic loss. And then 30 Rand, this one is the profit. It indicates the profit maximization price. The firm is selling at this amount to maximize its profit. And then AD as the output indicate the profit maximization quantity or output. And then how do we calculate the profit? We say the profit equals to AR minus AC times quantity. Let's see now. How much is the value of AR? Our AR equals to 30. There is 30 given. Minus AC, the value of AC is 50. There is 50. Times quantity, which is 80. Then the answer is negative 1,600. If it's negative like this, that means that the firm is making economic loss. Then let's check economic profit conditions. Under what condition does the firm make economic or supernormal profit? Economic profit prevails when revenues earned are greater than the cost incurred in the business. Average revenues turn above the average cost, meaning now in this case it's opposite. Revenues are more than the cost. That will mean the average cost curve must turn below average revenues. Then that will give us supernormal profit. Average revenues or total revenues are greater than the average cost or total cost. There you see AR is greater than AC or TR is greater than or more than TC. The economic profit condition indicates that more revenues are earned after sales as compared to the cost incurred during the production process, meaning there are more revenues than cost. The business managed to receive an extra amount after sales than as compared to the amount that it injected to produce the product. Economic profit is known as the supernormal profit. This is the graph indicating that. The vertical has been given horizontal, and then cost and revenues. We have the output or the quantity. There you go, we have the demand curve, which is AR equals to MR equals to D. Then let's see in there what happens. We have our output, and then there is MC I've been waiting for coming in. And the revenues are equal to 100, the cost will be 70. Let's see what happens. There you go. That is our average cost, and then that's our marginal cost. That is the shaded area box now. Now, this firm is making supernormal profit. Why? Because the revenues earned in the business are more than the costs that have incurred in the business. That simply means, look at this. The AC curve is very important to show you if the business is making the profit or a loss. The AC curve turns down here. Where are the revenues? Revenues are up here. So that means the costs for the business are equal to 70, while revenues are along the revenue line equal to 100. Therefore, the business managed to receive more money or more revenues after sales. That tell us the firm is making the supernormal profit because AR is greater than AC. That point E there indicates what we call the profit maximization point. Then shaded area indicates supernormal profit. Then we explain the graph. There is our graph, come back as it is. And then point E indicates the profit maximization point, where MR equal to MC. You can see MR equal to MC at this point E. And then the firm makes supernormal profit because average revenue are greater than average cost, or total revenues are more than total cost. Then the firm is making supernormal profit. Shaded area indicates the supernormal profit. This area is indicating what we call the supernormal profit for the business. 100 is the profit maximization price. This 100, the firm is using it to maximize the profit, and 90 is the profit maximization output along at this point E. And then it's a profit or supernormal profit. Let's see, average revenue minus average cost times quantity. That means now let's see the amount of AR equal to 100 minus 70 times 90. And then we get 2,700, which is positive. Then the firm is making a supernormal profit in this condition, meaning revenues received or earned in the business exceed the cost that incurred in the business. Remember again, AC should turn below AR. That's a supernormal profit. Economic loss, AC should turn above AR. That's economic loss. Then let's look at the normal profit now. Normal profit condition prevail when revenues earned are equal to the cost incurred in the business. So both revenues and costs are equal. Cost can be 50, revenues can be 50. That will lead to the business making normal profit, not making a profit, neither a loss. We call that a break even. Average revenue curve turns on the average cost. And then average revenues or total revenues are all equal to the total cost or total revenue. AR equal to AC or TR equals to TC. That's when the firm will be making the normal profit. So there's no loss, there's no profit, it's normal. And the normal profit condition indicates that revenues earned after are equal to cost incurred in the production. So revenues earned after sales are all equal to the cost that incurred in the production for the business. So this one is known as the break-even, as the firm is not making a profit, neither a loss. These are minimum earnings that prevent the firm from leaving the market. So the firm is not making a profit, is not making a loss. It simply gets its money that is injected. So that prevents the firm from leaving because there is no loss that has occurred for the firm, either no profit. Then this is the condition in terms of graph that indicates the normal profit. So the same story comes back, but you will only change the positioning of AC. AR, MR, AC, and then we connect. That is 8 in terms of quantity. That is our marginal cost or MC. The price is 50. There is our average cost or AC. Indicated, labeled, indicated. And then the E is the profit maximization point. So you can see now, looking at the AC, like I said, that AC is very important to determine either the firm is making a profit or a loss. Look, the AC simply turns straight on what you call on the AR, meaning they are both equal because AC equals to 50 Rand and AR equals to 50 Rand. And then the firm is not making a profit or a loss in this case. We call this one the break-even point. Graph explanation, the same graph comes in. And then same story. Point E indicates the profit maximization. The firm makes normal profit because AR equals to AC or TC equals to TR. And then 50 is the profit maximization price, while the 80 is the profit maximization output. And then let's see, profit equal to AR minus AC times Q. So 50 minus 50 times 80 equals to 0. Then it gives us the normal profit. The profit gain is 0. There is no profit gained by the business. We call that one a normal profit or the break even. Now, let's check. At times, firms happen to shut down or close down because they cannot cope with paying operating cost. So here we illustrate under which conditions will the firm shut down? Under which condition will the firm decide to leave or exit the market? So that will happen because initially the firm will start making normal profit. It can be worse, the firm can make economic loss. If it's worse than that, the firm can end up making or can end up shutting down completely because it cannot manage to cover its operating cost. As for the examination guideline, the industry. Explain economic profit, economic loss, normal profit with the aid of graphs. Explain normal profit with the aid of graph. Explain the shutdown point using the cost and revenues and explain. Then let's see the condition. The shutdown will always occur if the market price that a perfect competitive firm faces is below the average variable cost at the profit maximization output. Then let's continue. For an individual firm to continue with its operation, it must be able to cover its fixed cost and variable cost. So for the firm to continue with operation, it must cover its costs that are known as fixed cost and variable cost. If the firm cannot cover both of these, the firm should shut down. The failure to cover operation cost is a result to the firm shutting down or leaving the market or exiting the market. And then it occurs where the marginal cost curve crosses average variable cost. That will be indicated in the graph. If MC crosses the AVC, the firm will shut down. It also occurs where total revenue is less than total variable cost, and where average revenue is below average variable cost. And then let's continue to look at the condition. So the firm will always shut down if AVC or average variable cost equal to marginal cost, or average revenue is less than average variable cost. The firm will exit or leave the market. That is known as a shutdown. So this is the shutdown graph. So it will look the same, cost and revenues. That is the output. And then there is our first demand cap. AR is MR is to D. And then there is our AC. That first point indicates that the firm is simply making the normal profit because AC equals to AR. You can see they are all equal here. They are all equal to 50. So there the firm is just making normal profit. And then that is E. That is marginal cost, which is MC. And then the new demand curve. And then AR1 equals to MR1 equals to D. There is a very important point that we call a shutdown point, with point S. And then let's connect. The quantity is 200. And then the quantity back then is how much is 100. And then that is our AVC or average variable cost. So now we have the complete shutdown point. This point S indicate the shutdown for the firm. The firm can shut down here because what happens? AVC or average variable cost are equal to the marginal cost at this point. They intersect here, so that leads to the firm shutting down. That means the firm cannot afford to produce anything below 100 units and cannot afford to charge any price below 30 units. So the firm simply shut down here, cannot continue with its operations under this condition. There an arrow indicating the shutdown point. The firm is shutting down here at point S, where MC equals to average variable cost or AVC. Then the graph is explained as a shutdown. So point S indicates the shutdown point. If AVC equals to MC or average variable cost equal to marginal cost, at its lowest point, the firm will shut down. At point S, AVC equal to AR1. And then no price can be asked below 30 Rand and no output can be produced below 100 because the firm cannot afford to produce. Point E is where AC equal to AR indicate the normal profit. And then at point E, the firm maximizes its profit where MC equals to MR. That is your shutdown point. And then how about the supply curve? How do we determine the supply curve for the individual firm? And then the marginal cost curve, MC, is the supply curve for the firm under the perfect market. MC is the supply curve, where the lowest point or the lowest upward sloping point of MC is known as the supply curve for the perfect market. That will be indicated graphically. The firm can start supplying on the upward part of the supply curve or of the marginal cost. Nothing can be produced by the firm at the downward sloping part of the marginal cost. If ever it's still downward sloping, the firm cannot produce anything. It only started producing at the point that is upward sloping on the MC, and that determines the supply curve for the individual firm. There we go, determining the supply curve for the firm. And then the output, we have our revenues. And then that is price, that is our marginal cost. There we go. This is the lowest point of the MC. Remember, as the MC slopes down, it is a Nike shape, meaning it will slope down and even slope up to this point. So we cannot regard the whole MC as the supply curve because supply curve is upward sloping. So moving from this point, going straight there, this is still downward sloping. The supply curve will always begin at the upper point of the supply of the marginal cost, where the marginal cost is simply sloping up. That is the beginning of the supply curve. So supply curve for the perfect market begins at this point and go up there. That is known as the supply curve for the perfect commodity firm or the perfect market. There you see the beginning of the supply curve for the perfect market. That is our AVC. So where the MC cuts AVC or AVC cuts MC at the lowest point, that indicates the beginning of the supply curve for the perfect commodity firm. That is known as what we call the supply curve. It begins there. So the supply curve is upward sloping, like I said, you can see is moving from this point up. But this smaller portion that is downward sloping from here going down is not the part of the supply curve. We neglect that one and start at the upward sloping part of the marginal cost curve. And then the Competition Policy Act of South Africa, this is the last portion of our lesson. So what are the main objectives? What does the Competition Policy Act of South Africa do? So it prevents monopolies and other powerful businesses from abusing their power. So it simply prevents businesses from doing what we call the power abuse. Those dominant firms by abusing their power within the market. We talk about here monopolies, we talk about oligopolies that can abuse their power within the economy. It regulates the formation of megas and acquisitions of companies who wish to exercise the market power. Also, it stops firms from using restrictive or anti-competitive strategies like fixing prices and dividing markets. It promotes efficiency of economy. It ensures that efficiency is promoted within the economy and also provide consumers with the competitive prices and variety of choices. So consumers can choose from variety of businesses. Encourage South Africa to participate in the world market and accept foreign competition in the country. Encourages them. Hence, it's a Commission Act. It ensures that our local businesses are able to compete globally in the global market. Promote employment and improve economic welfare of previously disadvantaged. Ensure that people are able to access goods and services. They are also able to get job opportunities within the economy. So there are three commission bodies, namely the Competition Commission, the Commission Tribunal, and Tribunal Appeals Court. So we will discuss their importance. If we talk about the Competition Commission, we talk about the commission that is there to investigate what we call restrictive practices or anti-competitive behavior by businesses. If ever they simply decide to fix prices, this commission after investigating, it will find or it will get findings and transfer those findings to whom? To what we call the Competition Tribunal. So we say investigate restrictive businesses, practices, abuse of dominant positions and measures in order to achieve equity and efficiency in South African economy. Measures and takeovers cannot occur without evaluation, investigation, and consent of the Commission. Findings and recommendations are submitted to the Commission Tribunal. And then let's check the tribunal. What does it do? The tribunals simply do its own investigation on the allegations and discover if the firm is guilty of misconduct or not. That's when the tribunal try to do a research and investigate those restrictive practices and anti-competitive behavior that have been conducted by firms. If the tribunal finds the firm guilty, it will impose the fine. But if it does not find the firm guilty, and then it will not impose any fine. It is the tribunal of record and independent from the other commission institutions. So the tribunal is the main function is to grant exemption, authorize or prohibit large measures, adjudicate if any misconduct takes place, issue an order for cost on matters presented in by a commission. So if ever the commission simply suggested the fine, then the tribunal will reinvestigate and see if those allegations are correct or not. Then it will take the fine or simply withdraw. It imposes fines on firms found guilty of misconduct or of collusion or anti-competitive behavior or strategies. And then there is the third one, which is known as the Competition Appeals Court. The Appeals Court, now, what happens in there? If ever the firm has been charged of misconduct and the firm is not happy with the findings of the tribunals, of the Commission Tribunal, the firm has the power or the right to go to the Competition Appeals Court and appeal on those findings. What will happen? The Competition Appeals Court will do its own investigation on the firm's misconduct. If ever the firm is found guilty, what will happen? The charges that were imposed by the Commission Tribunal will remain. But if the firm is not found guilty by the Commission Appeals Court, and then what will happen? The fine that was imposed by the Competition Tribunal will be withdrawn from the firm. So its status is similar to the High Court. Its main function are to review orders made by the tribunal and amend or confirm these decisions. In case the firm was found guilty by the Commission Tribunal and found guilty by the Appeals Court, the fine will be upheld. But if the firm was not found guilty was not found guilty by the Tribunal Appeals Court, the fine will be withdrawn. So the fine will be removed from the firm if ever the firm is not guilty of any misconduct. So the success and the failure of the Commission Policy Act of South Africa, it's been very successful because it's been able to make provisions for institutions like commission, tribunal, as well as appeals court to investigate any unfair competition within the country, functioning as investigator and evaluator of restrictive business practices, also making recommendation about penalties for businesses found guilty of misconduct or power abuse. And then we continue. The Commission is empowered by the Commission Act to investigate, control, and evaluate restrictive business practices, abuse of dominant power or positions, and measures in order to achieve equity and efficiency in South African economy. Keeping the economic power of big firms to arrive at a more equitable distribution of income and wealth. And then regulating measures and takeovers to regulate market power of measures. And then we evaluate the success and the failure. The Commission policy has promoted the competitive economy by doing the following: successful investigation on prosecuting unfair competition on a regular basis in a country, making recommendation about penalties for businesses found guilty of abuse or of misconduct, and then implementing the Commission Tribunal who accept or reject investigation and recommendation by the Commission and confirm the penalty imposed. And then we continue. The Competition Amendment Bill has improved the competition policy by holding directors, owners accountable for anti-competitive behavior or restrictive practices within the economy, making it possible for business to appeal for a penalty that has been imposed. If ever they are not happy, they do appeal in Commission appeal in what we call Tribunal's Appeals Court. Keeping the economic power of big businesses to arrive in more equitable distribution of income, and then regulating measures and takeovers. We talk about here the example of Walmart and Massmart that were found guilty of misconduct, which is known as anti-competitive behavior or restrictive practice through collusion. They were fined a heavy fine. And the Commission policy did not promote competitive economy because there are still frequent occurrences of collusive behavior within the economy. And then also fines were too lenient. Some fines are too lenient to businesses, so they continue with the misconduct of abusing their power. The original commission policy did not take over into account the impact of megas and acquisition of SMMEs in terms of fair pricing. The shortcomings of the commission policy has led to the adoption of Commission Amendment Bill, which will promote the commission further. So that means there have been some challenges that have led to formation of the Competition Amendment Bill. And then too many dominant firms prevented disadvantaged black industries from entering the market. Then that is happened through the BEE of Black Economic Empowerment. Our lesson ends here.